The Arcadia station hung like a jewel in the void, orbiting the Star Arcturus in a celebration of unity inside its gleaming halls. Representatives from Earth and the Allied systems had gathered for a summit meant to secure lasting peace. For years, humanity had stepped cautiously into the galactic stage, building bridges, offering diplomacy, and hoping that old wounds could heal. Ambassador Rachel Kim felt the weight of the moment. Her delegation had traveled light years for this, representing billions of voices yearning for cooperation. The station buzzed with optimism. Holographic projections of peace treaties floated above conference tables, while delegates exchanged polite smiles and gestures of goodwill. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. Not all in the galaxy welcomed Earth's rise. Old grudges and rivalries lurked like shadows, and some saw humanity's rapid technological growth as a threat. Then, without warning, the lights flickered, the station trembled violently, throwing many off balance. Sirens screamed as automated defenses roared to life. The calm was shattered. Hostile vessels, sleek, dark, and fast, slammed through the perimeter. Their weapons fired with brutal precision. Explosions tore through Arcadia's core, cutting power and severing communications. Ambassador Kim gripped the edge of the conference table as the first blast rocked the chamber. The peace summit was no more. The assault was deliberate. It was total. Chaos erupted. Delegates scrambled, alarms blared, and smoke filled corridors. Security forces fought to hold the line, but they were outmatched. The attackers moved with ruthless efficiency, targeting the Earth delegation with cold calculation. Kim's mind raced. Escape pods, emergency protocols, evacuation points. She ordered her team to move, but many were caught in collapsing corridors or blasted by enemy fire. Minutes felt like hours. By the time the attack ended, Arcadia Station was a smoldering ruin. The majority of the Earth delegation was dead. Survivors were few and badly wounded. Across the galaxy, news spread like wildfire. The massacre was incomprehensible, a betrayal of trust on an unprecedented scale. The attackers remained unknown, their motives shrouded in mystery. Speculation ran rampant. Some believed it was an attempt to crush humanity's influence. Others whispered of political rivalries and vendettas on Earth. The shock soon gave way to something far more powerful. Rage, grief-stricken families, and shattered communities demanded justice. Memorials sprung up in cities, candlelight vigils drawing millions. Yet beneath the mourning, a new determination burned brighter. Humanity's peaceful era was over. No longer would Earth be the naive newcomer hoping for friendship. No longer would it turn the other cheek. In emergency sessions spanning time zones and continents, world leaders united in unprecedented fashion. The fractured political landscape gave way to a single coalition dedicated to defense, survival, and retribution. The new coalition declared peace without security was a lie. If the galaxy would not respect Earth, then Earth would make them respect it. Military mobilization began immediately. Earth's armed forces, once focused on exploration and defense, shifted toward total war readiness. Scientists accelerated weapon development, creating advanced systems designed to overwhelm any aggressor. The massacre became the rallying cry of a generation. Survivors were honored as heroes. Their sacrifice steeled the resolve of millions. Training programs intensified, focusing on discipline, tactics, and resilience. Public sentiment changed. Where once diplomacy was preferred, now ruthless pragmatism ruled. Propaganda campaigns depicted the massacre as a betrayal of all humanity's hopes. Justifying the harsh new stance, humanity's message was clear. Mercy would no longer be a weakness. The galaxy took note. Allied species watched uneasily as Earth's military presence expanded. Former partners approached with caution, while potential enemies reconsidered their calculations. Amid this transformation, Ambassador Kim, recovering from her injuries, spoke before the United Earth Council. Her voice was steady, filled with conviction. We were attacked in our hope for peace. Our trust was broken. We will honor those lost not with tears alone, but with strength. Earth will not ask for mercy. Earth will give none. The statement marked a turning point. From the ashes of tragedy, a new Earth emerged, ruthless, determined, and ready to defend its place in the cosmos. The massacre had shattered peace, but it had forged a new era, an era where no enemy would find Earth unprepared, where no foe would find mercy, where surrender was not an option. The galaxy would come to know humanity's resolve, and it would learn, quickly, that Earth had become a force unlike any before. The halls of the United Earth Council buzzed with urgency as representatives from every continent gathered. In the aftermath of the Arcadian Massacre, the air was thick with determination and a shared resolve that had never before united humanity so completely. Gone were the days when Earth hoped to be a humble participant in galactic affairs. Now, the mandate was clear. Earth would become a formidable power, unmatched and unyielding. The massacre had shattered not only lives, but also old illusions. Humanity could no longer afford the luxury of hope without strength. At the heart of this transformation was the newly established Global Defense Initiative GDI, a coalition of military, scientific, and diplomatic minds dedicated solely to preparing Earth for the inevitable conflicts ahead. The GDI wasted no time. Research labs were flooded with funding, military academies accelerated training, and recruitment soared. Every citizen understood the stakes. Among the leaders of this new era was General Marcus Cade, a veteran of countless conflicts on Earth's surface. Known for his unbreakable will and tactical brilliance, Cade was tasked with building Earth's new elite strike force units trained not just to survive, but to dominate. They were called the Iron Wolves. The Iron Wolves were selected from the best soldiers, engineers, and strategist men and women who had faced hardship and emerged tougher. Their training was brutal, designed to strip away hesitation and replace it with relentless focus. They were taught to expect no mercy and give none in return. We fight not just for Earth, but for the future of humanity, Cade told his recruits. Our enemies will test us. They will try to break us, but we will stand. We will strike back harder. We will show the galaxy what it means to cross Earth. Meanwhile, scientists raced to develop new weapons and defenses. Breakthroughs in energy shields, plasma weaponry, and AI-driven combat drones promised to give Earth a technological edge. But no innovation could replace the iron discipline the Iron Wolves embodied. As Earth rebuilt its military might, the political landscape shifted dramatically. Former allies watched with a mixture of awe and unease. Some viewed Earth's rise as a necessary force against growing galactic threats. Others worried that humanity's new ruthlessness might provoke more conflict than it prevented. Diplomatic missions became more guarded. Messages from Earth grew blunt and uncompromising. We will defend ourselves at all costs. Earth's representatives declared, we will not tolerate betrayal. The massacre's shadow loomed large over every decision. The memory of Ambassador Kim and her fallen team became a symbol reminding every soldier, every citizen, that failure was not an option. Across the world, memorials were built not just to mourn, but to inspire. Schools taught stories of sacrifice and resilience. Media celebrated heroes who embodied the new Earth spirit, fierce, unyielding, and ready to fight for survival. Yet, within the coalition, tension simmered. Some leaders feared that the cost of ruthlessness could erode humanity's core values. Others argued that the galaxy respected strength above all else, and that mercy could be exploited as weakness. But the majority consensus was firm. The massacre had taught Earth a brutal lesson. In the cold void of space, mercy was a liability. As months passed, Earth's Iron Wolves launched their first missions beyond the Sol system, not as explorers, but as hunters. Intelligence networks tracked down those responsible for the massacre, and swift, decisive strikes sent a clear message: Earth would find its enemies, no matter where they hid. Rumors spread among alien factions. The once hopeful newcomers were now a storm to be feared. The galaxy was taking notice. Humanity's transformation was underway. No longer would Earth be the victim. No longer would it hesitate. The massacre had shattered peace, but from its ashes, Earth rose ruthless, relentless, and prepared to fight alone if necessary. The void beyond Sol was no longer a place of mere curiosity and tentative diplomacy. It had become a battlefield. The Iron Wolves, Earth's elite warriors, slipped through dark star lanes with precision and purpose. Their mission was clear: track down every lead, find every hidden nest of those responsible for the Arcadian massacre, and bring justice that was swift and absolute. General Marcus Cade watched from the command deck of the Vigilant, the flagship of the Iron Wolves fleet. His sharp eyes scanned the star charts, illuminated by the glow of strategic displays. Every signal intercepted, every whisper from the galactic underworld was a thread to follow. The enemy had made a fatal mistake by attacking Earth's diplomats. Now, they would pay. The first target was a remote asteroid mining colony on the edge of the Lather system, rumored to be a haven for mercenaries and those tied to the massacre's perpetrators. Intelligence had revealed that stolen weapons and resources were funneled through this outpost. Cade's voice was calm, but resolute, as he addressed his officers. This is no rescue mission. We're the hunters now. No prisoners. No mercy. We hit hard and disappear before they know what happened. The Vigilant, its escort vessels descended into the colony's orbit under cloak, scanning for vulnerabilities. The Iron Wolves struck with brutal efficiency. Plasma cannons tore through fortified structures. A boarding party swept through corridors, neutralizing resistance with lethal precision. The operation was swift, no time wasted on negotiation or hesitation. Survivors were interrogated and delivered a grim warning. Earth would hunt them to the ends of the galaxy. Word of the attack spread quickly. The message was unmistakable. Elsewhere, Earth's intelligence network worked tirelessly, hacking into alien communications, decrypting encrypted messages, tracing shipments. Every piece of information fed into a growing web. It revealed that the massacre was not a simple act of aggression, but part of a larger conspiracy, involving multiple factions who feared humanity's rising power. These factions had underestimated one thing: Earth's resolve. On the ground, Iron Wolves commanders pushed their squads harder than ever. Each mission ended with a ritual, a silent remembrance of the fallen at Arcadia, fueling their relentless drive. They fought not just for survival, but to honor the memory of those lost. Back on Earth, the public followed these missions with a mix of pride and hunger for justice. News feeds broadcast victorious strikes and captured enemy leaders. The phrase "no mercy given, no surrender accepted" became a rallying cry, uniting a planet that had once been fractured by politics and fear. Yet, as the Iron Wolves pressed forward, a shadow crept into their ranks. Some soldiers began to question the cost of their mission. During a raid on a remote outpost, Lieutenant Hannah Reyes hesitated when confronted with civilians caught in the crossfire. "We're no better than them if we lose our humanity," she whispered to her squad during a rare moment of calm. Her words stirred unease. Was Earth's ruthlessness blurring the line between justice and vengeance? General Cade, however, dismissed such doubts. "The galaxy respects strength," he told his officers. "Compassion is a luxury we cannot afford. We must be cold. We must be relentless." Still, whispers of dissent grew quietly among the ranks. Meanwhile, outside Earth's reach, old allies watched with concern. The once hopeful promises of peace were replaced by caution and fear. Diplomatic envoys approached Earth with careful words, seeking to understand the new harshness. Some proposed tentative alliances, hoping to temper Earth's growing wrath. Others, sensing a rising threat, began preparing defenses. One envoy from the Zarin Confederacy, a race known for their wisdom and patience, met with Earth's diplomats. "Your transformation is remarkable," the leader said, "but the galaxy thrives on balance. Too much ruthlessness can tip the scales toward chaos." The message was clear. Earth's actions had consequences beyond its borders. Back aboard the Vigilant, Cade's eyes remained steely. "Let them fear us," he said. "We fight for Earth, for survival. We fight alone if we must, because if we don't, no one else will." The hunt was only beginning. The massacre had shattered peace, but Earth's resolve was now unbreakable. The galaxy would soon learn that Earth had become a force unlike any before: ruthless, unforgiving, and ready to claim its place among the stars. The relentless campaign continued as the Iron Wolves swept through systems far from Earth's orbit. Each mission was a demonstration of lethal precision, leaving no room for mercy. Yet, as victories piled up, a different kind of battle began, one within the hearts and minds of the warriors themselves. Lieutenant Hannah Reyes sat alone in the dim glow of the Vigilant's medical bay, her thoughts heavy. The raid on the mining colony had marked a turning point for her. She had watched innocent lives snuffed out in the chaos, and though the mission was a success, the cost weighed on her. Her squad mate, Sergeant Elen Morris, found her there. "You okay?" he asked quietly. Reyes shook her head. "I keep thinking, are we any better than those who attacked us? We say no mercy, no surrender. But what about the people caught in the crossfire? The families, the children?" Morris sighed, conflicted. "We're fighting a war that's bigger than us. If we don't do this, who will? The galaxy's not kind. It never was." Their conversation echoed a growing unrest among some Iron Wolves, a quiet struggle between duty and conscience. General Marcus Cade, meanwhile, remained unyielding. In strategic briefings, he emphasized the necessity of their harsh approach. "Every hesitation endangers us all," he reminded his commanders. "The massacre was a lesson in weakness. We cannot afford to forget it." Still, the cracks showed. Back on Earth, public opinion was also shifting. The initial wave of unity began to fragment as news of civilian casualties leaked. Through off-the-record reports, activists and politicians started questioning the cost of Earth's new ruthlessness. At a heated council meeting, Senator Amina Cho challenged the hardline stance. "We are losing ourselves," she argued. "Our enemies are many, yes, but if we sacrifice our values for vengeance, what future do we secure?" Her words sparked debate. Though the majority still backed Cade's strategy, fear and survival instincts had replaced hope. Amidst the turmoil, an unexpected development rocked the coalition. A transmission arrived from deep space, encrypted, anonymous, and chilling. It contained evidence that some of the factions behind the massacre were not acting alone. A shadow organization, manipulating events from behind the scenes, sought to plunge the galaxy into chaos. This revelation sent shockwaves through Earth's leadership. The enemy was larger and more dangerous than anyone had realized. Cade convened an emergency war council. "This changes everything," he said grimly. "We face not just enemies, but puppeteers. We must strike deeper, move faster." The Iron Wolves prepared for their most challenging missions, yet searching not only for combatants, but unraveling conspiracies that threatened galactic stability. As the hunt expanded, Lieutenant Reyes found herself thrust into a critical role. Her squad was assigned to infiltrate a suspected stronghold of the Shadow Organization. On a distant moon, the mission was perilous and secretive. During the operation, Rey's conflicting feelings intensified. She witnessed cruelty on both sides, the line between friend and foe blurring. Her belief in absolute ruthlessness began to falter, replaced by a nuanced understanding. Sometimes survival required strength, but lasting peace demanded more. Back aboard the Vigilant, Cade confronted her doubts with stern pragmatism. "Idealism is a luxury for those who don't face death daily. You must steel yourself." But Reyes wondered if there was a way to be strong without losing what made them human. Meanwhile, Earth's message to the galaxy grew louder and more uncompromising. Diplomatic channels warned Earth would pursue justice relentlessly, with no exceptions. The Iron Wolves were no longer just soldiers, they were symbols of a new Earth ethos. The galaxy's balance was shifting. Some races began to close ranks, forming uneasy alliances out of fear. Others plotted to exploit the rising tension. The Shadow Organization worked in secret, their web of influence spreading. In the silence between battles, Earth faced its greatest challenge, not just the external threats, but the internal struggle between ruthlessness and redemption. The massacre had shattered peace. Earth had risen fierce and relentless. But whether that fire would forge a lasting legacy or consume them all was yet to be seen. The moon was cold and silent as Lieutenant Hannah Reyes and her squad advanced cautiously through the shadowed corridors of the Shadow Organization's stronghold. Every step was a test of nerves and skill. The mission wasn't just about combat. It was about gathering evidence to expose a conspiracy far deeper than anyone had imagined. Reyes kept her focus, but doubt not at her resolve. She had once believed in the simple clarity of ruthless justice. Now, the lines were blurred. The enemy was not just a faceless aggressor, but a tangled web of lies, manipulation, and hidden agendas. The squad secured critical data cores, uncovering encrypted messages that revealed shocking truths. Influential figures from several powerful alien factions were involved in orchestrating the massacre on Arcadia. Their goal was to weaken Earth before its full strength could manifest. To prevent humanity from rising as a galactic power, the stakes had just become much higher. Meanwhile, General Marcus Cade received the briefing with a grim expression. "They thought Earth would be easy prey," he muttered. "They underestimated what we are willing to endure." Cade's strategy shifted from purely reactive to aggressively proactive. The Iron Wolves would no longer just hunt enemies in the shadows, they would strike at the heart of the conspiracy. Earth's resolve hardened further. Orders came swiftly. Several high-value targets were identified, scattered across remote systems. Each one represented a key piece of the network behind the massacre. The Iron Wolves prepared for a series of surgical strikes, blending speed, surprise, and overwhelming force. On Earth, the public remained divided. The government's transparency about the conspiracy fueled both pride and anxiety. Memorials for the fallen were juxtaposed with protests calling for restraint. The debate over humanity's ruthless new path raged in forums, news broadcasts, and private conversations. Yet, for many, the desire to protect their home planet and to ensure No such massacre would happen again overrode all doubts as the Iron Wolves executed their missions. Success was not without cost. Battles were fierce, and casualties mounted. Reyes lost comrades she had come to trust. Each loss was a brutal reminder that Earth's transformation demanded sacrifices no one could ignore. Back on the Vigilant, Kate met with Reyes after a grueling operation. "You're struggling with this," he said plainly, "but hesitation costs lives. We cannot afford it." Reyes met his gaze. "I'm not saying we should be weak, but strength without purpose, without a soul. What's the difference, Cade's?" Jaw tightened. "You want answers? Fight on, and you'll find them. But don't let your doubts make you soft." The tension between ruthlessness and humanity simmered like a quiet storm. Then, a new threat emerged. Intelligence detected a secret meeting of the conspiracies. Leaders on a hidden station in uncharted space. The station was heavily guarded, equipped with advanced defenses. Destroying it would cripple the network, but it was a suicide mission for any direct assault. Kate assembled a task force combining the Iron Wolves' finest pilots, engineers, and intelligence operatives. The plan required stealth, precision, and nerves of steel. Reyes was chosen to lead the infiltration team, a sign of both trust and challenge. The operation was dubbed Shadowfall. As the Vigilant and its fleet approached the station, tension gripped every soul. This was no longer just revenge, it was survival. The line between hunter and hunted had blurred. Earth was no longer fighting for mere justice. It was fighting for its future. On the razor's edge of darkness, the Vigilant slipped through the void like a ghost, its sensors masking the ship's approach to the hidden station. General Marcus Cate stood on the command deck, his gaze steady but intense. Every member of the Iron Wolves knew the stakes. Failure wasn't an option. Not now. Lieutenant Hannah Reyes led the infiltration team, her mind sharpened to razor's edge. Years of battle had honed her skills, but nothing had prepared her for what lay ahead. The station was a fortress in the dark, bristling with defenses, and guarded by elite mercenaries. Reyes' squad moved silently through the narrow docking tunnels, their footsteps muffled by the hum of life support systems. They were shadows, slipping between patrols and avoiding detection with a mix of advanced cloaking tech and sheer nerve. "Status," Reyes whispered into her calm. "Clear so far," replied Sergeant Yelen Morris, scanning ahead with his portable scanner. "But we're deep inside enemy territory." The team split, spreading out to secure key control nodes and data terminals. Reyes' goal was to locate the meeting chamber, where the conspiracy's leaders convened. The station's internal layout was complex, a maze designed to confuse and trap intruders. Time was against them. Suddenly, alarms blared. The team had been spotted. "Compromised," Morris shouted. "They're sealing the corridors." Gunfire erupted, echoing in the metal halls. Reyes ordered her squad to hold position and fight back with precision. Each shot was calculated, taking down enemies methodically. The Iron Wolves were no strangers to deadly encounters, but the station's defenders were skilled and well-equipped. As Reyes fought, her thoughts raced. The lives lost, the betrayals uncovered, it all culminated here. Failure would mean the conspiracy continued, and Earth's hard-won resolve could unravel. Meanwhile, in orbit, the Vigilant faced its own battle. Enemy warships scrambled to intercept, launching volleys of plasma and missiles. Captain Alaravos coordinated the fleet's response with cold efficiency, her commands turning chaos into order. "Hold formation. Protect the Vigilant. We can't lose the command ship now," she barked. The fleet shield shimmered under fire, the dance of war unfolding against a backdrop of stars. The Iron Wolves fighters weaved through enemy fire, striking back with precision strikes. Back inside the station, Reyes' team pushed forward. Reaching the entrance to the meeting chamber, they hacked the access controls, holding their breath as the doors slid open. Inside, the leaders of the conspiracy were gathered, surprised and unprepared for an attack. "Target acquired," Reyes whispered. The squad burst in, weapons raised. The room erupted into chaos, shouts, gunfire, and desperate attempts to escape. Reyes moved swiftly, securing the key figures. Data drives and communication devices were seized as proof of the conspiracy's reach and intent. But the victory came at a price. Explosions rocked the station as its self-destruct sequence initiated an automatic failsafe to prevent capture. "Evacuate. Evacuate now," Reyes ordered. The team raced against time, dodging debris and collapsing corridors. The Vigilant deployed extraction pods, pulling them from the brink of disaster. Once safely aboard, Reyes handed the data to General Cade. whose expression was unreadable as he absorbed the information. "This is what we needed," he said. "Finally, now the galaxy will know. No more shadows, no more hiding." Earth broadcasted the evidence widely, exposing the conspiracy's leaders and shaking the foundations of galactic politics. Many factions scrambled to distance themselves from the tainted figures, but the revelation came with consequences. Retaliation was swift and brutal. Former allies turned wary, and the delicate balance of power shifted unpredictably. Amidst the turmoil, Reyes confronted her own conflicted feelings. The ruthless justice Earth demanded had brought victory, but also new uncertainty. In a quiet moment, she confided in Mars, "We've done what was necessary, but I wonder what happens when the line between justice and vengeance disappears." Mars nodded grimly. "That's the question we'll all face, but for now, Earth stands strong. We fight on." General Cade, gazing out at the stars, made his resolve clear. "No mercy, no surrender. We protect Earth at all costs." The galaxy had been shaken to its core, and Earth's ruthless rise was far from over. The fallout from Operation Shadowfall rippled across the galaxy like a shockwave. The conspiracy's exposure fractured alliances, ignited old rivalries, and plunged entire sectors into unrest. Earth's name was on everyone's lips, feared, respected, and above all, unpredictable. Back on the Vigilant, the Iron Wolves prepared for the next phase of their campaign. Yet beneath the surface of military efficiency, doubt and exhaustion gnawed at the warriors. They had won battles, uncovered secrets, and crushed enemies, but the war's toll was mounting. Lieutenant Hannah Reyes felt it keenly. The faces of those lost haunted her friends, comrades, innocents caught in the crossfire. Every victory seemed shadowed by a growing question. Was Earth's ruthless path sustainable? And if they survived, what kind of future would they inherit? At a briefing, General Marcus Cade addressed his commanders with unshakable resolve. "Our enemies will try to rebuild. They will strike back harder, faster. We cannot show weakness now, not ever." He paused, eyes scanning the room. "We fight not just for survival, but for dominance. Earth will be the power that shapes the galaxy's future." His words sparked fierce loyalty in some, fear and unease in others. Meanwhile, political leaders on Earth debated the cost of the war. Senator Aminacho renewed calls for measured action and diplomacy, arguing that unchecked ruthlessness could destroy the moral fabric of humanity. But her voice was often drowned out by Hawks demanding total victory. Amid this turmoil, intelligence reports warned of a new threat. A coalition of alien factions had begun coordinating efforts to counter Earth's rise. This alliance, born from fear and desperation, was amassing fleets and resources. The Iron Wolves braced for conflict on multiple fronts. Reyes' squad was tasked with a high-risk reconnaissance mission behind enemy lines to gather intelligence on the coalition's movements and weaknesses. The operation was dangerous, requiring stealth, cunning, and resilience. As they infiltrated hostile territory, Reyes found herself reflecting on what had changed. The massacre had shattered illusions of safety, but it had also revealed humanity's fearful to survive and adapt. Her squad faced ambushes, betrayals, and the harsh realities of war. They learned to trust each other implicitly, their bonds forged in fire. The mission was grueling, but the intelligence they gathered was invaluable. Returning to the Vigilant, Reyes delivered the data to General Cade, who immediately adjusted their strategy. "We strike first, before they can consolidate." Swift, decisive action. The Iron Wolves launched a series of rapid strikes, targeted supply lines and command centers. Earth's ruthlessness became legendary, no quarter given, no mercy shown. Yet, with each brutal victory, the question lingered, at what cost? Reyes confided in Sergeant Morris during a rare moment of respite. "Sometimes I wonder if we're becoming the very thing we swore to destroy." Mars looked out the viewport, the stars distant and cold. "Maybe, but we're also the shield. If not us, then who?" The war escalated, stretching resources and testing limits. Civilian populations in contested regions suffered. Propaganda and misinformation spread. The Iron Wolves fought not just battles, but a war for hearts and minds. General Cade remained unyielding, demanding total commitment. "Mercy is a weakness the enemy will exploit. Our strength is our resolve." But in quieter moments, even he faced his own doubts. The galaxy stood on a knife's edge. Earth's ruthless ascent was a beacon to some, a warning to others. And the final act of this brutal saga was still to come. The war had changed everything. The Galaxy was no longer the sprawling network of cautious alliances and fragile truces it once was. It had become a battleground of raw power and unyielding ambition. Earth stood at the center of that storm, scarred, but unbroken. Lieutenant Hannah Reyes stood on the bridge of the Vigilant, watching the stars slip by like distant promises. The weight of the past months pressed heavily on her shoulders. She thought of the comrades lost, the civilians caught in the crossfire, the lines they had crossed. Yet she also thought of the future Earth had fought tooth and nail to claim. General Marcus Cade joined her quietly. "You've done well, Reyes," he said. "We all have." Reyes nodded, but her eyes betrayed the question she carried. "What now, General? After all this, what do we become?" Cade's gaze was steady, filled with the hard-won wisdom of a leader forged by war. "We become what we choose to be, not just survivors, but guardians of a new order, a future where Earth's strength ensures peace on our terms." The galaxy watched, some with hope, others with fear. The coalition that had risen against Earth was broken, its leaders captured or fled into hiding. Earth's ruthless campaigns had shattered their will to resist, but victory came with a heavy price. Humanity had become a force that other civilizations respected and dreaded. The Iron Wolves were no longer just warriors. They were symbols of Earth's unbreakable will. As Earth expanded its reach, forging new alliances and securing its borders, the question of morality lingered in quiet corners. What cost was acceptable for survival? How much ruthlessness could be balanced with humanity? Reyes found herself drawn to Senator Armina Cho's message of cautious diplomacy. The senator's vision of a future built not only on strength, but also on understanding and cooperation resonated with many weary from conflict. At a historic summit convened on Earth, leaders from across the galaxy gathered. The scars of war were fresh, but so was the possibility of something new, a galactic order shaped by Earth's fierce determination, tempered by the lessons learned from a brutal past. Reyes watched as Cade delivered a powerful address. "We have fought darkness and survived. Now, we must choose whether to be the darkness or the light that guides." The room was silent, the weight of his words settling like dust. In the following months, Earth took bold steps toward rebuilding trust. Human ambassadors reached out to former enemies. Initiatives to aid war-torn planets began. The ruthless warrior spirit remained, but it was balanced by a cautious hope for peace. Reyes stood at the edge of a memorial, honoring those lost to the massacre and the wars that followed. She traced the names etched in stone, feeling the pulse of their sacrifice. She turned to Morris, who had become a close friend through endless battles. "We fought alone," she said softly, "but we never truly were. Our fight was for everyone's future." Mars nodded, "And it's just beginning." The galaxy was vast, filled with unknowns, but Earth's place in it was no longer uncertain. They had carved their legacy through fire and resolve. No mercy had been given to their enemies. No surrender had been accepted. But now, the real challenge awaited, shaping a future worthy of the price they had paid. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, and Earth, ruthless, unyielding, and fiercely alive, was ready to meet it.